Hi, welcome Guardians. This is a video to show everything that I know about Destiny, and hopefully we'll get newer players up to speed. So, the main thing with Destiny is it can be very intimidating for newer players based on not knowing what to do when they first get in the game. There's multiple forms of currency, not a direct way of storytelling, many different things. So I'm going to go over the basics of a lot of things today, and I'm going to hopefully it'll make it a lot clearer for you. So there are three main classes in the game: Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. I main a Titan, which also each class has three subclasses. So for Titan, you have Defender, Sunbreaker, and Striker. Each other class also has an Arc, Solar, and Void subclass. Now you'll notice the max level is 40, but you'll see a light level of 400. The light level is the average of all your attack and defense values on all your equipped items. So that way, if I changed, say, this gun, it brings down my total light level to 395. And I don't want that gun anyway. So let's dismantle it and let's see what happens. So if you don't want a gun, you can hold down, or if you don't want any item, say like this item as well, I do not want. So if you don't want an item, you can hold down and give you X. Now it'll give you weapon parts or armor parts based on what it is. It'll also give you Glimmer, but right now I have Max Glimmer. Glimmer is one of the currencies in the game. The maximum Glimmer is 25,000. Another currency is Legendary Marks. You get these from dismantling legendary quality gear, running heroic strikes, and doing the daily Crucible and daily story missions. You get 15 for each daily story mission and daily Crucible, and you get 10 up to 3 times per account for your weekly strike or weekly Crucible. Those can be found in the director here. So these are your daily Crucible, your daily story, your weekly strike. Notice I have 2 remaining because I've already ran it once. Since the dawning of Destiny's 2016 winter event, on your first completion of your weekly strike, you will receive a sterling, or not a sterling treasure, you will receive a Treasures of the Dawning, which you can use to redeem for very cosmetic gear. Like these gear will drop at 3 light, and you can infuse it up to that. And I'll talk about infusion later. So this is your director. You have your weekly Crucible, daily Crucible, daily story, weekly strike, and then you also have the Nightfall strike. The Nightfall strike is you get to be able to do it once per character, and then also it's the hardest strike per week. So the weekly reset happens on Tuesday. So at 5 a.m. Tuesday, all these change, all these modifiers. So see how the different modifiers on the Nightfall are Epic, Brawler, Fresh Troops, Match Game, and Exposure. That's this week's. But next week it could be different. Now with a weekly Nightfall strike, you earn the highest possible loot you can. You can get stuff from exotics, which are these gold tier quality. I'm saying gold tier. Now exotics are, you can only have one exotic equipped at a time. Per armor and per weapon. So if I wanted to equip my exotic chest piece, I cannot. Or if I wanted to equip my exotic special weapon, I cannot. However, the only exclusion is exotic marks or exotic class items. These can be found by ranking up a faction to level 25 and completing that quest. So quests and story are all tied into this progress screen. For Rise of Iron, Destiny came out with a record book that you could keep track of doing certain items, and you'd actually get rewards from doing those items. So take a look at that. It's pretty straightforward on what you have to do for each node. I still have some stuff to do. So each thing in the Rise of Iron record book is associated with a different activity. So this page is associated with Crucible activities. This page is associated with the raid activities, which the raid is a higher in-game PvE activity, player versus enemy. This is associated with stuff on patrol and stories. And this is just things in general. Now, there are also 3 other legacy record books that you may not have access to. There's an SRL record book for when SRL was active in 2015 and 2016. There's a Moments of Triumph Year 2 that you may not have access to. But don't worry about completing these. And there's also a Dawning record book. Now, this record book should still be able to complete, and you should still be able to get the items from that. Now, quests are located here. Quests set you off on a chain of story missions. I don't have a lot on this character, but the quest will tell you to start. We'll have a little quest icon. It will tell you to go to it. So most of the story missions are broken off into these quests. So like you can see here, like the House of Wolf quest line, you'll see like the number 2 and Skullloss right there. Or the Rise of Iron, you'll have the little Rise of Iron logo. Or if it's vanilla, which means base game, you won't have anything. You also tell by story as well. There's the Dark Below storyline as well, and Taken King storyline. Now here's the raid icon. That's the hardest in-game activity for PvE content. What they say, and that's how you can get really good gear. This raid consists of 3 bosses, and most other raids do as well. There are 3 other legacy raids, but those won't drop as good gear, but they are still very fun to run. So each planet and the reef have different icons associated with them and different things you can do. So here is a year 1 raid on the moon, Crota's End. There's a year 1 raid on Venus called the Vault of Glass, which is personally my favorite. Then you have a year 2 raid on the Dreadnought called King's Fall. I recommend doing all the story missions in order first and try to understand a bit of the story. A lot of the story is locked away in what's called grimoire cards, and these cards can be accessed on the Bungie.net website. They really have a lot of stuff associated with these. I suggest checking them out, but it kind of sucks that they're not in the game and you can't see it. But ever since year 2, Bungie has done a better job of storytelling and telling you what's happening with Oryx coming into the solar system to avenge his son, or Siva, the return of Siva in Rise of Iron. So let's go to the tower and check some things out. This is the tower. This is the main social space in the game. This is where guardians will come in, pick up bounties and quests, uh, and go off on patrol or do those quests. I'm going to go to each of the vendors, give them a little bit more details about them and what they do. First vendor is a new vendor from year 2, is Tess Eververse. She sells stuff for real money, which you gotta buy for silver, but they're all cosmetic. So don't feel the need to buy these things or anything like that. She sells emotes. She can sell some of these Treasure of the Dawning packages, some Radiant Treasure, which are just skins for some of the exotic weapons. Here you'll find a Silver Dust kiosk, which from some of those packages you can get through Eververse, you can buy some of these weapon skins or some of these sparrows. Don't ever feel inclined to buy these just because they don't make you win, or they don't help you in any way. Here's your postmaster. This is where all your items that you can't fit in any of your slots will drop. I didn't even know that. I had a sidearm drop.
Service restored.
Now over here are your vaults. Make good use of them. These can store a lot of your weapons and armor and other things in 3 different slots. By using left bumper and right bumper, you can cycle between those. So weapon can hold 108, which you see I have 106. Armor can hold 108 as well, and general tab can hold 72. These can hold things like weapon skins, ghost, and other stuff like planetary materials. Over here you'll find the dick of the game, the Cryptarch. For new players, I recommend saving engrams and slowly leveling up that way, because Destiny now has a slow progression system where when you turn in an engram, it should give you something higher than what you already have. If it's a blue engram, it maxes out at 365. If it's a legendary, when you turn it in, it maxes out 385. Then exotics, of course, still max out at 400. And of course, I can turn this in for Glimmer as well, but I don't want to do that right now.
We still have much to learn about Oryx.
Now over here is the Gunsmith. The Gunsmith, you can do quests, or you can do what's called field test weapons each week. He'll give you 5 to do, and you can level up your Gunsmith. On completion of rank 2 and rank 3, he'll give you a legendary gun that is specific to your class. So for Titans, the legendary gun is Mobius. In my opinion, it sucks a lot, and also when you rank up with the Gunsmith, you can actually buy Foundry orders, which are some pretty good guns that you can get, and they drop at 280, but you can infuse them up higher than that. Now over here is the bounty tracker. I recommend picking up as many bounties as possible. And you can check on your bounties by going to your progress bar and see down here. You can hold a maximum of 16.
Closed mission.
So the bounty tracker has 3 different kinds of bounties. He has weekly strike bounties, Vanguard bounties, which are just stuff to do on PvE content, and he also has Crucible bounties, which is PvP content. And this will give you experience and reputation with factions.
Thank you, Guardian.
So down here, you're going to have a couple other vendors. The first up is Eris Morn. She is a new vendor from Crota's End. You really don't have to do a lot with her at this moment in time in the game. If you want, you can level her up by giving her stuff, and she'll give you a class item every now and then. But that's about it. I wouldn't recommend spending too much time with her. Now over here is the Crucible Crucible Handler. They give out weekly PvP events, or weekly PvP bounties that you can turn in for a Nightfall level quality reward. He also sells items down here as well. So don't forget you can pick these up by using your legendary marks, which you can do from those weekly or daily Crucible.
Welcome.
PvE events. This is another Crucible Quartermaster who also sells some good weapons. I highly recommend getting the Palindrome, since this one is very good rolls.
See ya.
Now down here you have your Vanguard Quartermasters, or Vanguard people. Now these people are one for each class you have. So you have a Warlock, you get your Hunter, and your Titan. Zavala, the Titan Vanguard, will give you weekly Strike Elite bounties, which can be obtained for legendary gear. I highly recommend doing these bounties.
Back to the fight.
Now over here you have two kiosks. You have your exotic weapon blueprints, which if once you obtain an exotic weapon, don't feel like you have to keep that weapon. You can always dismantle it and come back and buy another one for an exotic shard and some glimmer. Now over here is your exotic armor blueprints. It's the same with the exotic weapons. Note, however, you can only pick up your class's items. So you'll have to log on to your other classes to get those exotics. Now here's the abandoned quest. I don't have any abandoned quests, but if you ever feel like you don't want to have a quest in your screen, or you don't want to have those notifications pop up on your director, you can always hold X to abandon those. So let's go see what else is around the tower. Now over on this side, there's a couple vendors, and there's also a couple faction vendors as well. And I'm also going to show off Xur this week as well. This is Dead Orbit. This is one of the 3 factions that are in the game. This is currently who I represent, and you can trade in different materials to level up him faster. He also sells weapons and armor as well.
Tell the others about us.
This is your Vanguard Quartermaster who sells weapons and sparrows.
These are our stocks.
You can also trade in legendary marks for planetary materials if you don't feel like grinding them out on the planet and searching for them. This is Amanda Holiday, the shipwright. She sells a variety of ships, which are just cosmetic, and sparrows.
So long.
You also have the sparrow kiosk right here that you can pick up. And once you obtain a sparrow and you dismantle it, you can always come back and get it here. Same for ships. Now if we go up here, we get the Future War Cult vendor. This is the second of 3 factions in the game, and you can pledge allegiance once per week. But since I'm already Dead Orbit, I'm not going to do that.
Back to the war.
I've got a job to do.
Now down here is a little bar area that also has a little jukebox you can play music on. It's a little thing you can do. But here's you can access emotes that you buy or pick up randomly through the game. And if you dismantle them, you can always come back and pick them up here. Alright, now we're going to go to the other side of the tower and look up the last faction vendor.
Were they there at the collapse?
Alright. Up first is New Monarchy. He's the last of the 3 factions.
All for a good cause, Guardian.
Each faction has their own own story to tell in this game, or how they think things are going to end. I'm not going to get too in detail in case you want to read the grimoire. Now back here is Eva Levante. She's a Guardian outfitter. She sells shaders and emblems.
Bring it on. Right, tight.
She also sells these ornaments, chroma for silver dust.
Come back soon.
Now, if you ever get an emblem or shader, you can always go back and pick them up here. This is your shader collection. And this is your emblem collection. So don't ever feel like you have to keep something on you just because you only have 9 slots. Now this is a holiday kiosk. If you just started picking this game up after 2016, so if you're in 2017 and you're watching this video, you've probably missed both Festival of the Lost and the SRL and Dawning events. These are special little cosmetic items that you can pick up in the game that you can wear. There's SRL racing suits. There's masks for Festival of the Lost. Notice these items don't have any kind of values associated with them because they're strictly cosmetic. And the last vendor is the speaker. He's just a quest giver and sometimes
We have much
and sells your subclass items that you can pick up in the game.
but your actions give me hope.
So speaking of item quality and what's on an item. So items can our armor items can have discipline, strength, and intellect. These things do different abilities, or do different things based on your ability. So intellect, having more intellect will decrease the amount it takes for your super to charge. Discipline will decrease the time it takes for you to get another grenade, and strength will decrease the time it takes for your special melee ability to recharge. Now also, the max that you can get is a tier 12. And what I mean by that is if you count each of those white slots, I can only have 10 right now. But the max that you can get is 12 if you get the right armor piece. So right now, my boots are a 100% roll. That means they are a 56-56 or 79-79. They also have different node perks on it for different kinds of things that you can get. I recommend reading these over and really just picking what kind of item you want based on your playstyle.
Running systems check.
So now I'm going to show you a little bit about infusion. So say this item right here, I really want to infuse that up to 400. But it's only 360. If I have another item available that's higher light, I can infuse it by using glimmer armor materials or weapon materials if it's a weapon, motes of light, and a couple legendary marks. So it will bring up gear that I have, and it'll tell me what level it is. Now when I dismantle for infusion, it will bring it all the way up to whatever I put into it. So if I had a 400 level item, that item immediately becomes 400. Now there are different things in the game, like different kinds of artifacts that you can get in Rise of Iron that have different effects on them. You do these by completing quests in the mountain social space, which this one right here is gives you when your super's full, nearby enemies supers or nearby ally supers charge faster. And there's a lot of cool ones, and I'll just hover over them so you can read them. Feel free to pause the video if I'm going too fast. And let's go see where is Xur this week. Now, Xur is a special vendor that sells exotic stuff for strange coins, which is another currency in the game. Strange coins will look like this. Which I have a lot. Let's see if he's down here. Alright, check the other side of the tower. It's not there.
Interesting.
Alright, he must be in the reef, which is another social space. Now's a good time to mention that. Now, Xur changes his spot from week to week. He comes in on Fridays and leaves on Sunday mornings. So he's only around for a limited time on each week. So let's go to the reef. Now, if you notice over here, there's different things associated with different prison elders. These are fun little events that you can do. They're also PvE activities. I don't recommend doing any of the legacy ones, but the 41 and 42 prison elders will still drop good weapons that are infusable. So we'll go to my inventory while we're waiting to load into the reef. So these are, your inventory section has materials, ornaments, and consumables. So materials can have different things like planetary materials, motes of light, exotic shards, which you get from dismantling exotic equipment, passage coins, which you get from playing crucible matches, which can be used in Trials of Osiris. You also have strange coins, which can be used for as Xur, and stuff that you can get from raids and other sources. So over here you have a postmaster in the reef. You also have access to your vaults. You also have access to the same bounty tracker that's in the tower. And over here is
You did well for us,
the
Guardian.
Queen's Wrath. She this is Petra. She gives you quests
Still use your
and items, and also she gives you bounties as well that you can level her up to get some pretty sweet gear.
Good luck.
Now over here is Varix. Varix is the House of Judgment leader. He will give you access to the prison elders and also give some bounties for prison elders as well. He sells some class items and a weapon. Now, to go into the Challenge of the Elders, which is the level 42, you need to purchase a sigil for 100 glimmer.
Perhaps I shall see you
You also have access to a Cryptarch over here for decrypting engrams. And then you have a Trials of Osiris. This is Brother Vance. However, since I suck at Trials of Osiris, I will never ever use these. But if you have any passage coins, feel free to come trade passage coins for Motes of Light or vice versa.
The trials will wait for you.
Now over here you also have an abandoned quest kiosk, the same as in the tower. This must be where Xur is at. We can see everyone over here. So Xur doesn't necessarily have to be in the reef. He can also be in the tower as well, in a couple different locations.
You walk among them.
So Xur sometimes sells different items based on the week. This is a legacy engram. That means it is only going to give you an item of 170 value or less from year 1. So I highly recommend do not purchasing this if it says legacy. These are the current items that he's selling. So he will always sell 3 armor pieces, 1 for each class. So the Titan armor piece that he's selling is Imperia Bellicose this week. The Hunter is Young Amakara Spine, and for Warlocks he's selling Voidfang Vestments. The only requirements to purchasing these are you need to have 13 strange coins and you need to be level 40. He also sells 1 weapon Sometimes he doesn't, though. But the requirement for these is 23 strange coins and be level 40. He sells some other curios, which I highly recommend getting 3 of coins. You can buy a stack of 5 for 7 strange coins, and each time that you use a 3 of coin, which you use by going into your inventory and just holding down X to use one. Now you'll notice that the 3 of coins will be over here, exotic partners. So it grants a chance to receive an exotic engram on the next Ultra or Crucible match completion, which is really nice when completing strikes or running Crucible for multiple times. He also has the best deal in the game, which if you're ever running low on heavy in PvE activities, to purchase these. Glass needles can help you reforge exotic armor. I wouldn't highly recommend using these. You can also exchange some items now.
Goodbye.
So that's it of the reef. And there's one more social space we'll get to. No. And that is on Earth. That is the Iron Temple. If you feel like this is overcomplicated, or if you need help with anything, feel free to message me, Dr. Bojangles, anytime, and I'll try to help out on Xbox. Oh, here's some consumables. So you have synthesis, which are you can use to get heavy ammo, special ammo, or primary ammo. You also have these reputation boosters, which can help you level factions faster. There's some splicer keys, 3 coins, Siva cash key, which is from the raid, legacy, which picks up some of the ornaments, not the ornaments, the artifacts in the game.